From the PEP Radio Newsroom, these are the stories we are following at this hour. The GOP put $40 million for Trump's Garden of Heroes in his big tax cuts bill. The new spending line was tucked inside Trump's big, beautiful bill by the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, whose chairman, Senator Bill Cassidy, the Republican from Louisiana, has been at times a Trump critic. The $40 million allotment would go to the National Endowment for the Humanities to build Trump's long sought statue garden. He first proposed the idea in 2020 during a time of political turmoil in the United States over honoring people with racist and other views and followed up with executive orders. Trump's initial proposal for 30 plus heroes features founding fathers and presidents, civil rights pioneers, and aviation innovators, explorers, and generals, and the late Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. Absent from Trump's initial list were any Native American, Hispanic, or Asian American individuals. Trump announces that U.S.-China trade deal is done. Trump says U.S. will get magnets and rare earth minerals from China in a deal imposing 55% tariffs on Chinese goods, up sharply from the 30% set in Switzerland during talks in May. In return, Trump said the U.S. will provide China what was agreed to, including allowing Chinese students to attend American colleges and universities. Trump recently had begun to clamp down on Chinese nationals on U.S. college campuses. So, in other words, we're going to go back to the way things were under the Biden administration. In other words, he's just taken us back to square one. Except we're going to be paying more at the grocery store and clothing store and anywhere else you buy goods imported from China. Human rights groups claim that Chinese rare earth minerals produced through forced labor. The Netherlands-based Global Rights Compliance says Avon, Walmart, Nescafe, Coca-Cola, and paint supplier Sherwin-Williams may be among companies linked to titanium sourced from Xinjiang, where rights groups allege the Chinese government runs coercive labor practices targeting predominantly Muslim Uyghurs and other Turkic minorities. The report found 77 Chinese suppliers in the titanium, lithium, beryllium, and magnesium industries operating in Xinjiang are at risk of participating in China's labor transfer programs in which Uyghur are forced to work in factories as part of a long-standing campaign of assimilation and mass detention. The named companies did not immediately comment. A UN report from 2022 found China may have committed crimes against humanity in Xinjiang, where more than 1 million Uyghurs are estimated to have been arbitrarily detained as Chinese targets, terrorism, and separatism. The Chinese Foreign Ministry said the forced labor allegations are nothing but a lie. President Joe Biden signed a law blocking imports from Xinjiang unless businesses can prove they were made without forced labor. Treasury Secretary says he has not spoken with Trump about Harvard's tax status. Testifying in front of the House Ways and Means Committee, Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary for the United States, was asked about Trump's stated desire to punish Harvard University and other nonprofit organizations by directing the IRS to revoke their tax-exempt status. Federal law prohibits the executive branch from exerting influence over taxpayer audits and other investigations. Bessent told lawmakers, "The president and I have never had a conversation about Harvard's tax status." Asked whether he would commit to report back to the committee in 30 days as to whether he'd been directed by the executive branch to launch audits of any taxpayers, Bessent said, "That is without question that I will follow the law." That's the news at this hour. We'll have further updates on the tension and protests in Los Angeles and other cities as news becomes available. We'll post those updates on our Facebook and Blue Sky accounts. Download the Live 365 app to take PEP Radio with you wherever you go. Up next is the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.